first question will be like, how do you define cybersecurity in your words?
Yeah, cybersecurity is about protecting value as it pertains to computers and information systems and networks. It's actually quite simple. People overcomplicate it all the time. The terms shift. Like at one time, like long time ago, we used to talk about data security, then information security. The term cyber or cybersecurity actually comes out of I think it comes out of the United States military, but it encompasses more than just information and data.
So it is like, apart from Kali, what are the other operating system like to go for into pen testing? Like I know, like I can go for like Parrot.
Yeah.
I already had my hands on Arch Linux and my Parrot as well. So it's like apart from these two, and like what are the other operating systems which someone can go for?
I have to admit, I'm not up on pen testing tools. I actually don't like pen testing. Like I tried it like 20 years ago and I learned to do some stuff. I like, back in those days, like if you owned a collection of Sun OS boxes in Romania, like nobody cared. Not that I did that sort of thing because it was legal. But no, like there was I mean, everybody needs to be able to break into stuff to sort of prove to themselves that it's a real thing. Like it's more about becoming emotionally invested and believing that these things are real and knowing what that looks like now I can tell you what I hear. I can hear that like Kali is really good and Parrot I don't know much about. But I do know that if you don't install the tool yourself, there are two problems that occur. One, you just don't know how it works. The other problem is that a lot of exploit code is like is backdoored. And so you've got to be really careful with these tools. Like just because it's a Metasploit plugin that a bunch of people use doesn't mean it's safe. Right. And so now nobody inspects all their code. Right. But if you essentially build your own distro from the and these are all available on their own. Like there's nothing that you could only get in Kali, as far as I know. Like they're all available a la carte. So install them a la carte, get to know them, understand their capabilities. Because if you are going to be a script kiddie, you might as well be a good one and understand things about these tools that other people don't know. I mean, the essence of being a hacker, like I see people want to be ethical hackers who aren't hackers, right? Which to me is kind of sad, right? A hacker is someone who is obsessed with understanding how systems work in ways that they weren't designed to work. They're not people who break into stuff. And the hacker ethos goes, it's as old as the hills, right? It goes back long before technology. For example, I'm a business hacker. I figure out, and a lot of entrepreneurs actually are business hackers. We are successful by finding ways to create value and transact business that other people are unaware of or wouldn't dare do, like start a business that's located in Mexico and Europe and the United States. Like who does that? Crazy people do that. Like it makes no sense at all. But I'm doing it. Why? Because I saw an opportunity. I saw nobody else knew that I could do this. And it's all the more thrilling. In the old hacking freaking days, it was about like, wow, you could do this with a phone. If you play this 2600 hertz tone into a phone, it will send, because of in-band signaling, the phone system will think that you inserted a quarter. Wow, cool. Now people figure out how to do that, and suddenly like everybody's doing it. It's not hacking anymore. It's not. Like I don't even think that that's hacking after the blue box gets invented. And people who use Kali to break into things, who don't know how the tools work, are not hacking. They're just breaking into stuff. And there is a category, and they're not the same thing. It's not to say you can't make a living at it, but you won't make much of one, because there are enough people around who are real hackers who will leverage automation like breach attack simulation, who know the tools better, who know how to write a deliverable, who know how to present to like a CISO or an auditor or even to a board of directors, heaven forbid, occasionally happens, right? But know how to like talk about know how to talk about
Mm-hmm.
hacking in terms of information systems, but also in terms of what could happen to the business.
Okay.
Controversial notions, I know. You look like there's something happened to your screen. Are you?
No, actually, yeah. Just a sec. The thing is, like, light gone dim all of a sudden. Okay, it's back up.
Oh, I can see just
Cool.
fine.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So yeah, and I guess yeah, there are like a couple of things which I would like to ask up. Like, I'll be mentioning about like some job roles. Can you just help me up? Like, which one would be like a beginner one itself, with through which someone can start off?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I would like to start first. I'll go with like incident manager.
No.
So what exactly?
Incident manager is extremely advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to, so that to be an incident manager, not only do you need intrusion analysis, digital forensics into response. It's not to say like most into response these days is not like taking like like disk images and stuff, because a lot of time if it's cloud, there's no disk image to be had. Maybe it's serverless. There is no disk that you're going to get access to, like Amazon or Microsoft or Google controls that. But it includes things like knowing something of the law, knowing how to talk to lawyers. If you're an incident manager, for sure, unless you're a gigantic company, you're talking to the CEO. You might talk to the CFO. You're definitely going to be talking to the CIO. You're going to be talking to people who do like storage management, server management. You're probably going to talk to the head of marketing. So that is an extremely complex role that requires a lot of maturity. But people can get there, like totally get there. My recommendation on that one is take your time. Don't get too excited. You come through intrusion detection, you might get opportunities to assist in incident response. The way you do that is get to know your incident responders. Like find mentors. Like people, like there's a kind of like magic sheen over mentoring people. It's like, oh, you're a mentor. I mentor people. You know what mentoring looks like? Hey, Peter, I'm curious. Like, could you help me like position my career or something? Like, yeah, let's have a conversation. And I say, well, you should read some books and you should do some things. And by the way, pen testing is a hard way to do it. Call me next month if you want more. And they call me back next month, or we talk again next month. I'm mentoring them. That's kind of it. That's one way to do it. Another mentoring approach or way to get a mentor is you get an office job, like any kind of office job. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as there's some IT and security people in the building. And you go to them and you look for the one with, used to be like, look for the guy with the gray beard who smells funny. Not anymore. They make a shower, but like ask where the security team is. And when people go, why do you want to do that? You say, well, because I want to get secure. I'm curious. And you go to them and you tell them like, I've been doing Hack the Box. I've got Arch Linux going, and I'm building my own Kali Linux box because I'm not stupid. And I'm learning how like malware works. I got a malware zoo, and I'm running I got a server in my basement, and I got a DIN DNS IP. I did that once, by the way, because I was like, screw up Facebook. I'm going to have my own website, and I'm going to make it with HTML and VI. Just no one went there. It was terrible. But the point is you present yourself as somebody who's resourceful and curious and in love with the field. And if you're not in love with the field, don't even try. And say, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Like research, writing, get you coffee, walk your dog. I'm joking about that stuff, that part, right? Don't do that. It's actually unethical. But is there what can I help you? Even if it's off hours, please get paid. It's valuable stuff. I say that because what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to help you. Security people are helpers by nature. There's not much difference between people who work in the security profession and people who take care of kids and people who make your lunch at the restaurant and the people who take care at the hospital. These are all, and counselors, cybersecurity, I've written about this. You can find it on my website. Cybersecurity is a helping profession.
Mm-hmm.
The essential difference between our helping profession and all the others is we get paid well. And because we're paid well, we're respected. We're not paid well because we're respected. We're respected because we're paid well. And people know that, like, if you want to get us, if you don't want us even more expensive, you got to be nice to us.
Yeah, basically.
I'm serious. So security people want to help. Hit up anybody on the internet. And if you're not stupid, if you don't say, hey, can I have a job? Give me a job. I've literally get people saying, I want an internship. Can you give me an internship? So it'll happen to me 3 times a day. Like, literally, I woke up to one of these this morning from somebody saying, can you give me an internship?
Wow.
And they were clearly a little miffed when I said, I don't. Where are you? You in Mexico? You in one of these places where I do business? Because you're not. And they're legal things, right? They're labor laws and stuff. It's another thing, like, people don't know. But yeah, like, security people love to help. And there are, like, a lot of people out there looking for opportunities to mentor, and people don't approach them because they're scared or something. I don't know.
Okay, so
10 minutes, and then I need a break for
yep,
next.
that's why. So we'll go with SOC level 1.
Yeah. I mean, if you can still find a SOC level 1 place, I mean, sometimes I'll just call it junior analyst because it really just means you're new. What do you want to know about the SOC level 1? Like, the skills needed?
Oh, it's like if it's like as an I just want to make sure, like, it's like a beginner level or a mid senior level. I just want to just make it a one liner itself. Yeah.
SOC jobs are actually advanced security jobs. Now, there are companies, particularly managed services providers, who violate that, who ignore that, and they make for very, very stressful situations and terrible quality for the customers. I've worked for some that insisted on using people who were, like, straight out of college, like first job, because they were cheap. To me, that's unethical. It's bad for the customers. It's bad for the employee. So, but you can find those jobs. They're terrible. You'll get experience, maybe. The real problem with those is that everybody's, like, gunning for those jobs as the first job. Like I said several times now, there's a shortage of people who can do identity and access management stuff. It's not sexy, but you will get a chance to analyze logs for to find out if there's breach of tax. I mean, if there's a BEC, business email compromise, account takeover. That does show up in that world, much more straightforward. And the fact is that in those roles, you learn about cloud, you learn about how the business operates, you learn about process. Like, the one thing the good security people have, the one trait, like, every, like, capable security person has an intellectual and a methodical, an analytical mind. And so whether you're in a SOC or you're doing identity access management or audit and compliance and assurance, or management, everybody's in a position where they're trying to analyze information, produce insights, find errors, things like that. And that, it doesn't matter where you are in that. Yeah, I mean, one thing is really valuable. A lot of people don't have Excel skills, Microsoft Office in general, but particularly Microsoft Excel. Shocking how many people I've had to, like, teach how to use Excel. I don't even know that.
Even I struggle.
Well, I struggle sometimes. Yeah, like, I have to relearn pivot tables every 3 months because I'm like, oh, I forgot again. I need a pivot table. I go to, like, Google for it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to mention you, like, 4 to 5 beginner roles which someone can go for.
Yeah. One is, in terms of security, like I said, identity access management. Another's firewall administration. Another is there's certain kinds of cloud services administration that are sometimes available. The nice thing about those is you can train on how to do those and demonstrate them in an interview. Like, if I was hiring for somebody to do cloud administration, I would love it if somebody started the interview saying, yeah, I know you have some questions, but let me show you what I can do. Can I share my screen? That would like, I've been waiting for that. Nobody's ever done it. But like if somebody showed up and I was recruiting for that kind of role, I'd be like, the recruiting process has ended. I don't care who's behind you. You're my guy, right? Or gal, right? That's it, right? Because I know what you're doing. Like hiring managers are in this really tough spot because we're trying to figure out what people can do based on really crappy LinkedIn profiles for the most part. Right. I mean, I see like no photo that looks like it was from somebody's ID on a bad day. Dating photo reused on LinkedIn, way too common, right? No descriptions in the jobs. Daft statements like lifelong learner. Like, I don't care if you're a lifelong learner. Show me. Don't tell me you're a lifelong learner. Show me you're a lifelong learner, right? To that. Another thing you can do is like come into it like, oh, sign up with a temp agency as an administrative assistant. Like regular temp agencies still exist. There are still office jobs where people need like copies made and things like delivered and junk like that. Just get into an office job. That's how I got in. My family, I come from a family of like teachers and musicians, which is seasonal. So when there weren't gigs to be played, we would do secretarial work. I did that too. And that's when I went to work for that bank. I was actually a temp. The jobs before that was legal secretary. I actually got exposed to lots of different kinds of organizations because I wasn't a very good temp.
Okay.
I got fired all the time. Yeah. I could type fast. I was like 80 words a minute, but I like couldn't show up on time. I had a tardiness issue. But so I would do that and just get into an office. Fun little story, and this is related to the IT thing. The reason I got good at IT is something that, you probably couldn't do anymore without, because it's sort of illegal. But I would go to a temp job and I would, when everybody was at lunch, I would go to the storeroom and look in the shelves around, and I would find where they kept the diskettes for the software.
Okay.
And this is like the end of day one. I would take those diskettes home. I would copy them. I would bring the originals back and put them back. And so and if there's anything new that I didn't already have a copy of, I would just borrow that, bring it back the next day. So I had like WordPerfect 4.1, 5.1, 4.0. I had various versions of DOS. I had Quattro Pro. I had Lotus 123 version, blah, blah, blah. I had all this various kinds of software at home. So then I might get a call on Friday from an agency saying, hey, Peter, you available? Yes, I'm available because I got fired again. Yeah, I'm available. What you need? And they'd be like, do you know MS-DOS 3.0 with Quattro Pro version 3? And I'd look at like my collection of software and go, yeah, I got that. And then I would like run to a bookstore, to Borders or Barnes and Noble. Borders used to exist. And I would find a book. I would spend $50 usually. They were expensive. I would go home and I'd cram as much as I could. I would show up on Monday and I would do the basics really well. Like these were not graphical interfaces most of the time, but I knew the menu system to do the simple things. I would drill it. I would do it over and over and over and over again to practice. And so the customer, the client, would see me doing my thing with like Lotus 123 and go, wow, you got a lot of experience with that. I'm like, oh yes, I do. I only knew how to do like 3 bloody things with it. Like that was it. And then they would walk away feeling confident that I knew what I was doing. And then when they were gone, if there's something I didn't know, I got really good at learning help menus. If I didn't do that, I had my bag, and in my bag was the book, and I might take it to the restroom to look. Usually they didn't care. They'd be like, why are you looking at that? I'm like, I just want to I think there was a change in the product. Like this still works. I did my first sim projects this way. Same way, same technique. So like, don't discount what you learn and how you learn in domains outside of security, because the truth of the matter is, it is a very thin wall between the security world and the not security world. And if you know that, you have an instant advantage. We got to wrap up, my friends.
Yeah.
I have to get to another thing.
Just one more question. Just lastly.
Yeah.
I would like to just mention about like how about you introduce yourself, like what your name, and what exactly you do. That's it.
What I do is really unusual because I'm an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I work across countries and things like that.
Yep.
But what I will say is look at my LinkedIn.
Uh,
If you can spell my name, it's extremely easy to find me there. And look at my background. If anybody has questions, they're welcome to send me a message or send me a contact request. The long and the short of though is that what Nearshore does is we deliver services using the talent that we find in Mexico. And there are pockets of quality here. There's some really great talent in Mexico that people aren't aware of. And we can offer it cheaper, right? Because the cost of living is less here. And we offer that only to customers in the United States, UK, and Europe, mostly the US, because we have a presence there too. My mission is break down the walls, is to bring to bear people who live all around the world, who are not appreciated and not seen, and make them appreciated and get them paid. So if somebody's interested in pitching in and they're not from Mexico or they're not from, what something I'm working on, don't let that stop you. Reach out, because I get requests for things in new countries all the time.
All right, cool. And just 1 minute, and that's it. You
Sure.
just need to mention pretty much conclusions, doesn't? Like, how do you conclude this entire conversation which we had right now?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is thank you. I'm grateful for it. It was really great meeting you. I'm doing this for free. And one of my sort of basic principles is I know that if I do stuff for fun and for free and for love, I feed the community, occasionally the community feeds me back. I get paid. I'm not getting paid for this. This was really great. And it was a delight meeting you. And if you ever want to do something around some other topic, I'd be glad to. And that's the alarm I use to make sure I'm not late to my next meeting.
Cool. Yeah. And just a quick thing, we'll be very soon. Well, if you're okay with it, we'll be discussing about in detail regarding what exactly is a red team, blue team, and purple team. We can have a brief conversation, and that will be a new episode also. Then, if you are okay with it, then
cool.
We can have a word in terms of with that as well.
Love it. Happy to help.
Cool. Sure. Thank you. That concludes up today's episode, and thank you, sir, for joining us.